There's nothing I like more than rolling through the twisties on my Harley. I just wonder which tyres are the best for it though. Let's have a little chat about that, shall we?
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're enjoying the channel and the series of videos. Please like, share, subscribe, leave loads of comments below and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. So, I'm on the Harley Davidson Sport Glide. Yes, my bike from the Softail range. Now, I want to talk about the best tyre for the bike. Now, it's currently on Michelin 31's Scorcher, Harley Davidson Scorcher tyres. If you read the manual, a lot of the manuals say, or lots of different parts of the manual will say that you've got to have the Harley Davidson tyres. Actually, I don't think you do. What you need to have is the right size, right type of tyre that is not matching. So you're not oversizing the tyre. But what is crucial about this particular tyre is, for me, it's loading and its speed rating. So I'm going to quickly talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about different options of tyre which you could go for and what that particular tyre will mean for you if you decide to upgrade your engine performance. Okay, so let's get over to it. Now, if you watch my other video as well about all the engine tyre specifications, what all the markings mean, it's all up there. If you check out the website, so RevelatorAlf.com, the Harley page, you see all the engine tyre specifications all decoded for the Softail models. All the Softail models there are decoded for you, so you know what all the max loadings are, what all the maximum speed ratings are, so on and so forth, for the stock tyres that are supplied with your bike. Right, so if we look here on the tyre, it says 130/70 B18 motorcycle tyre 63H. Right, so basically it's 130mm tyre on the front. 70% of 130 is the height of the tyre. And then it's a belted bias tyre, the B. It's an 18-inch rim wheel. And also it's a 63H. Now the H means that its maximum speed allowed on this tyre is 130 miles an hour. The 63 means that it's 272 kilos max loading on this tyre. So basically right down there, that's it, that's the maximum tyre. Now obviously you're not going to go and stand on the front tyre 2 or 3 people up and ride at, you know, 130 miles an hour, are you? Because the weight is distributed over the front and rear tyre. But essentially that's what it is. Now, let's say, for example, you did big performance upgrades on your 107, 114 engine, whatever it is. Now this bike is limited because it's still got the tuning limiter on it at 110 miles an hour. If you see my other video when I speed tested, I actually got up to 116, but that's by the by. Let's say if I de-restricted it just by a simple tuner, a different type of tuner on there. Let's say I put a different type of exhaust. I went for a stage 1 or stage 2. Let's say if I even went the whole hog and I went for, pardon the pun, I went you know, for a stage 4. Actually, this bike will go 130. In fact, it might even go a little bit more than that. It might do 140. It might do 150. You know what? Some reports are saying that an FP3 tuner de-restricted with stage 4, you're talking about 150, 155, maybe 160 if you're, you know, really lucky. Is that ambitious? Possibly. Is that overestimating it? Possibly. However, the key thing to remember here is if you've only got a tyre that's maximum rated to 130 miles an hour and you're going to ride at that speed, you might be overloading the tyre. You might have a big blowout on the tyre. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, I'm certainly not condoning or suggesting that you can ride on the road at that kind of speed. But what I'm suggesting is, if you've got a bike that's capable of that speed, and let's say you took it on a racetrack or you took it down a motorway, you did a speed trial on a drag strip or something like that, that tyre might not be sufficient for you to go at that speed. Okay. Also, That's the speed rating. Then you've got to look at the load rating as well. Well, maybe not so much on the front, but certainly on the rear. Now the rear here is actually got a load and speed rating, still H of 130 miles an hour, but it's got a 77 code load rating, which is 412, I think, kilos off the top of my head. So again, if you're going really high speeds, that tyre might not be good enough, might not be rated high enough in speed. Also, the loading might not be high enough, depending on if you're really going to go at higher speed, and also with lots of bags, lots of heavy equipment, and also carrying a heavy pillion as well. You might start to overload that rear tyre, so something to bear in mind. If you factor in environmental conditions like really hot temperatures, you know, if you haven't got your pressures quite right, maybe you've overinflated your tyres, you know, all that kind of stuff which you've got to consider might be an issue for your tyre. So what do you do? What do you do as an alternative for your tyres? Well, there are a few possibilities out there, but actually there aren't that many. In terms of a warranty, in terms of making sure that everything else works on the bike, as long as you have the same size tyre on your bike as what the factory supply you with, the Harley Davidson Scorchers, they're fine. The width, the height of the tyre, and also the rim, okay? Make sure the wheels are the same as well, you don't change out the wheels. Now, there's no problem in doing all that, changing out the wheels, but then that'll interfere with ABS and all that kind of stuff. It may even interfere with your vehicle speed sensor, you know, how fast it's reading that you're going. All that will change. So unless you want that to change, or you're going to factor for that, or you're going to get new electronics for that, then it's going to be a problem for you, especially on these new modern bikes. Older bikes, you could change things, just change clocks, change speedometers, analog speedometers, and it would work, okay? But the new bikes, obviously, you've got to be considerate about that. So that's it, as long as the tyre is the same. Okay, what about tread pattern? Tread pattern is, well, exactly the same. That doesn't matter, okay? That doesn't matter. What about tyre construction? Okay, personally, I would actually keep the same tyre construction as the stock. If you've got a bias belted tyre on the front, I would swap it for a bias belted. If you've got a bias belted on the rear, I would swap it for a bias belted. If they're both bias belted, then either swap for both bias belted, or you swap for a higher rated tyre, either give you a greater weight loading or a greater speed loading, and you both have, let's say, a V-rated tyre. If you check out all the specs on the Harley Parley page, you'll understand what I mean. But that will give you a higher speed rating on both tyres, and then you'll be able to do the higher speeds and the higher loads as well. So that's something to consider, okay? Match your tyres as best you can. Now, interestingly, a couple of tyre manufacturers, they will give you a certain tyre for the rear and give you another type of tyre for the front. I believe it's Dunlop. They give you a V-rated tyre for the rear and a H-rated tyre for the front. That doesn't seem to be quite right to me, because if you're increasing the speed of the bike and you get a V speed, which I think is 149 miles an hour off the top of my head, but you still got a H-rated tyre at the front at 130 miles an hour, you've got a mismatch there. So you need to have the same speed rating, in my opinion. Look at Avon Cobra Chromes. Again, I think there is a difference there on some of their tyres as well. So you've got to match it. Take this under advisement. Go and speak to people who've had this and they're using their bikes at higher rated speeds, or they're pushing those speed limits and those load ratings of the tyre. See what they're riding with as well. There are lots of different options, of course. Lots of different tyre options. Dunlop, Metzler's, say Avon. Obviously, you've got the Michelins as well. What you may want to consider, actually, just staying with these Michelin 31 Scorcher tyres. They've got good latitude all around. I'm not sure that they're probably the best latitude when it comes to wet or winter riding conditions. But if you're predominantly riding in dry conditions, they're absolutely fine. So possibly looking at a more latitude with a wet tyre, that might be better, a better option for you. But certainly it's the same size tyre you need, same width and height and rim. That's the most important thing. Tread pattern, yes, that doesn't really matter so much. I would always say try and match your tyres as best you can, either with loading and certainly with speed rating, preferably with the same type and make of tyre as well. They would work in conjunction with each other. It kind of comes down to trial and error as well. Which tyre you think works best for your style of riding, the environmental conditions which you're riding on, and you know what you want from a tyre as well. And it is kind of, you can't really say one particular tyre is going to be better than another. It really depends on you and how it works for you. Unfortunately, we can't usually just test those tyres out before we buy them. We kind of have to just go with our gut, go with what we think is right, and then try them out. You tend to, if you're anything like me, you find a tyre and you think, that's the tyre for me, I'm going to keep that. And that's what I had with previous bikes. I found a tyre, Michelin PR3s I was riding with for a long time. Love that tyre, great latitude. Unfortunately, I've already checked, they don't do the Michelin PR3 or the PR4 for this size tyre, which I require on here. Otherwise, that would be my recommendation. But anyway, listen, let me know what you think. Leave loads of comments below. Let me know if you've got tyre choices, if you're looking at these loadings and speed ratings, if you're matching the speed ratings and load ratings, or if you're doing different ones. Are you riding with the Dunlops? Are you riding with the Avons, the Metzlers? Let me know, are there any other tyres out there that you can recommend, and then look at these speed and load ratings as well. Right, well, I hope you found that useful. Anyway, something to discuss and certainly something to think about, especially if you're doing stage upgrades on a bike, especially if you're going to be riding all year round in different weather conditions. What sort of tyre is going to give you the best latitude, in the dry, in the hot, in the cold, and in the wet as well. Right, well, catch you on the next video whenever that is. But as I say, please like, share, subscribe, leave loads of comments, check out the website, check out the Harley Parley page, and I'll catch you again. Ta-da! RevelatorAlf.